Happy holidays, everyone. This is a video blog of a blog I wrote a few days ago called AppScript is All You Need. Some people, myself included, find reading arduous, and so I created this video as an opportunity to talk about what I wrote. I'm also going to talk about some of the motivation and spitball some of the links and things. Hopefully this provides another way in which I can get my content out there, where I love to learn and I love to share what I have learned. I hope people find it useful. So for this recent blog, I jumped into using Advent of Code. Advent of Code is a coding, kind of holiday coding puzzle where each year there is an opportunity to learn something new. Sometimes people use it to learn new languages, maybe learn in Rust or Go. Others can use it to learn new infrastructure and kind of run it on certain tooling and platforms. It's really fun if you want to learn computer programming and kind of think about how to solve these. Last year, I was learning Palantir at the time, and I did an Advent of Code using Palantir, which very much was kind of summarized by this XKCD 1319, where automation tends to take much longer than you expect it to do. And that was really what I was kind of found. It was more the infrastructure that was much more challenging than the coding puzzles. This year, I'm going to use AppScript. I've done a ton of automation using Google Workspace this year, and I want to share what I've learned and hope it's useful to other people. It's the holiday time, so use it as a chance to reflect on what I've learned over the last year. All right. What is AppScript? AppScript is a cloud-based JavaScript platform powered by Google Drive that lets you integrate with and automate tasks across Google products. You can think of it like Power Automate for Microsoft 360, but it is a JavaScript framework. There is a no-code version, which is Workspace Studio, which recently came out. The easiest way to do it is just go to script.new. And you should, as long as you have a Google account, you'll jump straight into an AppScript project. And here you can code using JavaScript for it to run some code. It has a lot of built-in integrations with kind of Google Workspace and IOs and that kind of stuff. I'm going to skip over this. There is a large developer community. Google Workspace and other collaborative platforms often provide APIs where you can extend the platform. One thing I've been learning about is making a Google Chat application using Gemini AI. And probably a few months ago, I probably started working on this about 6 months ago. It was difficult to basically have the code to provide a clean response. It was all HTML. So to provide any code into Google Chat, you have to provide a HTML code for it to be rendered appropriately using various different HTML tags. Thankfully, they've fixed that a few months ago, and you can now take in Markdown. But the first time I did this, I've got some code on GitHub that I'll put in the description, was I had this horrible system instructions of, hey, make sure you convert any output to HTML. Most large language models output code in Markdown or text in Markdown is the preferred kind of meta data analysis of text, where you can display various different headings and stuff. And I had to hack this. So happy I could remove that. And now I have a clean chat application. This is like 1,000 lines of code, and it does a lot. I'd say the most useful thing of this chat application is if you use it in a kind of Google Chat application, you can use it in a kind of multi-person conversation. So Joe Bloggs may say, answer this question for me. And then me, Ray Bell, can say, what did Joe Bloggs just ask? And it basically handles that multi-turn conversation per multiple people. So it can be quite fun to use it in a group chat space. That said, it's completely experimental. Probably not going to maintain this or develop it further, use at your own peril. And then a little tidbit, if anybody wants to learn more about this code, it's on GitHub. Feel free to add it to your favorite AI model and ask it to explain the code for you. It'll probably do a good job to help you understand. Right. So in terms of the development environment, there is a few ways to interact with app scripts. It's predominantly here, you're working in a browser interface. Number one, this is secure because you're in a browser and you have to be yourself to be logged in. But it also provides Google kind of I/O and various different libraries. That said, my preferred development environment is something local where I can iterate quickly. And there is a couple of ways to do that. I added a link here, and people can check it out. I'll put it in the description of Claude Code, right in workspace files using the Claude Code Chrome extension. And I'll go towards it at the end of the blog. There is emerging frameworks or kind of agentic browsers, which are pretty interesting. That said, come with their security risks. So I'm only testing it here on a personal machine just to understand its capabilities, but also its limitations. And there is 2 tools that you can use for local development of app scripts. One of those is Glasp by Google, and another one is GasFakes. GasFakes is by an independent consultant, and I'll talk through these as I go. Now, advent of code solutions are small enough that you can probably just run in your browser. You can fire up a console in your browser and run, a simple command like this. This is the gist of the solution of day one. You have a dial, you have to go around 100 points of this safe dial, and each time it lands on 0, you have to count it. But to keep track of where you are, you need this modulo, the remainder of the division. And this is kind of what the coding aspect is that it's trying to get at you. So the first way for me to test this and to run it was to stick it into AppScript. Copy paste it there, embed the text, and run it, and it will return the result. Here I have just embedded the data within the AppScript. You could also upload a text file and have AppScripts read that as well. Glasp mostly allows you to work on a terminal and interact with app scripts. That said, there are still some things that are ClickOps instead of DevOps. So if you want to add your GCP project number, I don't think there is a CLI command for that. So you have to run that manually. But what's exciting as well is, very recently there is a Glasp MCP server that recently got added. And yeah, I created this issue in the Clasp repo back in August, saying like, hey, you should probably have some documentation to say that there is an MCP server with Clasp, and here is how we use it. And with the release of Gemini CLI, they now have extensions, and so you can easily install the Clasp extension. And think of MCP servers as a way to give your LLMs tools. The utility here is that I don't have to remember what all the Clasp functions are to remember when to run them and how to run those. Using the Clasp MCP server, I can have it work with basically have the LLM tell it, hey, I need you to do this for me. And then it will go look up the documentation and tell me how to do it. Similarly, you could do this with any Gemini CLI, Claude Code, OpenAI Codex, various others. I go through some instructions for how to install this and how to run it. Again, I'm not using AI here. I'm just saying, here are the commands. And if you have a local one, then here's how you push it. This is where it got tricky. So to run it from the terminal, you have to do a ton of stuff behind the scenes with a GCP to basically give it credentials to be able to run the code. I will leave that to the reader to look into. Again, yeah, you can do that, but there is a lot of workarounds. A new project that I was interested in learning more about is a project called GasFakes. GasFakes here, it's on GitHub and by Bruce McPherson. And I really like it. It reminds me of GSpread. So GSpread similarly is a Python package which provides Python API to Google Sheets. Again, it's done by an independent, someone external to Google. As you can see here, it's 7,000+ stars, and yeah, used quite a lot by the Google Colab team. If I go to sheets.new, and if I want to bring this Sheets into a Google Colab to do more, the Sheets to Colab extension, which should give me some code that you may be able to run, uses GSpread. This is a marketplace extension by the Google Colab team. What Bruce is trying to do is basically trying to solve that headache that I had of, you've got an app script, you want to run it locally without a ton of overhead of having to work in the browser. You can think of it as like IPython for Python for app scripts. So you can just stay local and just iterate. And it's really smart as well. So kudos to Bruce for developing this and open sourcing it. If you take the app scripts you have previously, all you have to do is add this import section at the top, and also a if script is fake as well. And now I can run it locally and get the result. So I didn't have to interact with the browser version as much. And if I was just testing my app script and kind of wanted to do this in an iterative process, and maybe at some point I want to use a coding agent, it can start to do this back and forth to help you develop what you need. The last bit is I explored computer use. Computer use refers to AI that can control your computer. Think of this like a driverless car, a self-driving car for your computer. Either you could interact with it either with prompting or voice commands and say, I want you to do X, Y, Z with my computer. And in this case, the descriptions was, okay, yeah, my prompt was, I want you to write an app script to solve the ARPANET code puzzle. You can embed the dummy data in the script. And I said, here should be the answer. I said, you don't need to generalize it because it will just use it on the dummy data. And I'm a beginner, so please make sure the code is easy to understand and well commented. And I tried 2 of these frameworks. One of those was Claude in Chrome using the extension. Again, I've just tried this on a personal machine because I'm interested to see how it does and how it performs. It wasn't able to finish it. I'll let you watch the video of that yourself or add it to the description. Maybe I could have done some better prompting or used a better model. The other one I tried was Google Antigravity, which similarly has a Chrome extension. And this was able to do it, which is pretty cool to see when you see an AI writing code for you. That said, completely terrifying as well. Just as number one, I'm aware of prompt injections, but also just exploring the capabilities and limitations of this emerging technology. All right, and thanks for listening, everyone. Enjoy the holidays.